Downtown Stockton, California, everyone. This is going to be a part 2 of Stockton because the first video showed all the really bad areas on the south side of town and a lot of homeless footage. Wherever you go in Stockton, there's homeless people in poverty. And downtown isn't really very stimulating or nice either. It's pretty drab and boring, and that's sad. For this drive, we're going to drive around downtown Stockton and see what it's like. And joining me on the drive are going to be 2 longtime Stockton residents who are going to tell us what it's like here in California's 11th biggest city. We're here because Stockton's just about the most dangerous and poverty-stricken place in California, and it really puts things into perspective into how far downhill things have gone in this state. However, it's really cheap here, and it's only an hour from Oakland, so a lot of people are flocking here because it's one of the last sorta big affordable places you can live in California. You guys want to see bad news? So I'll show you bad news. Come along with me, YouTube, to a land full of poo-poo. I'll sing you a song about a place that's gone wrong, driving in a Stockton wonderland. I was in Stockton about a month ago. And I drove around downtown, and I drove around like South Stockton, where it's like really bad with crime and poverty and everything.
Definitely.
Yeah, I saw a lot of homeless shit. I saw just bad areas. I mean, Stockton has a really bad reputation, as I'm sure you know, because you grew up there.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was gonna say, so if you rode around downtown, I'm pretty sure you got on like the Highway 4 on-ramp entrance. Am I right? So you've seen all the homeless encampments that are right underneath the freeway, underneath the highway. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I saw that.
It wasn't always like that before. It was a few, and now there's like a whole campus. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I saw a bunch of stuff going on the south side of town. There was a big old dirt lot, and there were just, I don't even know how many people were just living in RVs and like makeshift buildings and tents. And you know what? It moves around so much. Like you may not know what I'm talking about because it's new. And then in 3 weeks, it's in another part of town. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah. You mentioned that like there's a lot of stuff that goes on the south side of town that's not reported. Like, what are examples of that? Like how?
Okay, let me give you a few examples. Like, yeah, you got the drug problem, you got a crime problem, riffraff, but mainly young folks. You got a lot of prostitution on that side. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like they bat the eye at. You know what I'm saying? They kind of look past it, act like it's not there, but everyone knows it's there. Right on Wilson Way in the open. You know what I'm saying? So you can't really get past that. That's out there.
Did you know someone discovered gold near Stockton in 1848? That's how Stockton became a city.
I think you stole that tidbit from another video I did about Stockton, Mappy. Thanks for the extensive research. No, but seriously, there was gold in them thar hills around Stockton at one point, but I don't think there's any gold in Stockton anymore. But based on all the people that are just outside of downtown, you might think there's gold. Kind of looks like they're prospecting, doesn't it?
I don't see any mining equipment.
No. The only gold you'll find in Stockton these days is earrings in the gutter outside of the club. All the gold in Stockton's long gone. Now it's gunshots and shootings and falling down. But people still wanna come. So I went to Stockton. I saw what was supposed to be the worst part of Stockton, which was pretty beat up. It doesn't look as bad as some areas that I've been to, but California ghettos are usually not like ugly like they are on the East Coast. But like Stockton's got a lot of issues, dude, like with crime and poverty mostly.
Oh yeah.
Like tell me a little bit about how Stockton is these days and why it has such a bad reputation.
I think it's as bad as it used to be, but definitely is very bad. As far as like, there's homeless everywhere. I know that's the norm around America nowadays. But there's tents everywhere, people begging. I told you to check out that one Facebook link, and you could just see like every day. The other day there was the police station, I believe, was shot up. My wife works in Stockton, right off of I-5, And while she's sitting there working, she hears some cars pull up, and it was probably, she thinks they're probably like between 18, 25-year-old, two dudes pulled up in the car, and then cops were right behind them and pulled the guns on them. You know, it was a police chase just right in the middle of the day. It's just that kind of thing.
Yeah, downtown Stockton, just police chases. So, is it getting? I know there's a lot of people moving from the Bay Area who are fleeing Oakland, San Francisco, all that because it's really expensive, and their first stop is basically Stockton. It's like the next biggest city that's affordable, sort of, now that they can go to. Are all the people fleeing the Bay Area making the problem worse with crime and homelessness and everything else?
I know the house prices and everything are going up.
So like you sent an email to me. You basically said that, there's very little law enforcement. It's filthy. There's panhandlers everywhere. There's homeless people everywhere. In the Walmarts, they have to lock up pretty much everything because of the crime. I mean, is it like everywhere else in California and Stockton where they're just going in and grabbing whatever they want and getting away with it?
Yeah. So that was, so when I went to like Boise, Idaho, I visited there, probably about a year ago. And it was crazy because when I walk in, like nothing's behind glass shelves. The store was clean. Here, a majority of items are all locked up behind glass. Most of them, yeah. I was at Walgreens probably about a month ago. And while I was in there, I was in line getting ready to pay, and I see some lady. She had, I know it was like laundry detergent and a few other little items. She was walking by. The cashier asked her if she's going to pay for it, and she said no, and just kept going. And again, I don't go into Stockton that often, so I'm looking at the cashier, and she said there's nothing we could do because if it's under a certain amount, they're not going to do anything anyways. So they just kind of walked in and walked out.
Yeah, I think it's like $1,000 or $950 or $999, whatever it is. They don't care. I mean, it's just like that everywhere. And a lot of people will say it's a victimless crime, like let the poor people have what the poor people, if they need laundry detergent. And, like if they were stealing food, I'd probably be fine with that. I think most people would be like, hey, people need to eat. But when you're going in and stealing clothing and high-end stuff, stuff that you're just going to resell or just to be an a-hole just to steal, it just sets a bad precedent for basically like everything else. If you're not going to force that, then you're not going to force traffic laws and you're not going to force like fist fights. And then pretty soon you have a lawless society. And I think a lot of it's turning into that.
Yeah, I agree.
So like you said, your sister heard gunshots every week, a bullet ended up in the side of her house. So she moved to Texas.
Yeah. So first she lived more into Stockton. I think it was probably maybe like West Lane or something. And she's had a gun pulled on her twice. Once at a stoplight. I think the guy probably thought she cut him off or something. I'm not sure how that one went. Second time she was walking her dog down the sidewalk and the dog started barking at two guys. One guy actually pulled the gun out and pretty much threatened to shoot the dog right there. Luckily, his buddy said, no, it's not worth it. And they just kept on with their day. Then she lived on the Stockton off Monte Diablo. And she said like it was not, if not every night, at least every other, night, at least once a week, she'd hear gunshots and whatnot. And then one morning they noticed that the side of their house actually got hit with a couple bullets. And that was kind of her last straw, I think, because she had two little girls. Luckily, the bullets didn't actually go through and hit no one, but it was kind of the norm. I did have to go into the courthouse, which is kind of in the middle of Stockton, about 3 weeks ago. And it was crazy driving down the road on the way over there. And all of a sudden I see like this lady pretty much half naked just running down the street. And I'm looking around like she's being chased. No one around. I'm guessing she was probably on drugs or something. I really don't know. I thought, the worst, but it turns out there wasn't anybody around. It's just craziness like that.
Mm-hmm. Are you and a lot of people thinking about bailing from Stockton, or are you going to stick around?
I plan to bail. I've already looked a few spots. I put a couple offers in, but I looked at Texas, Tennessee. Still trying to figure out where I want to go, but I have put a few offers in. I'm just getting outbeat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know a
What
lot of
about
people around here generally don't want to live in Stockton. There are some good places, like decent places in Stockton, but they're far and few between.
So you told me that you said a lot of people voted for Trump in the last election when normally it was like a Democrat area
Yeah,
that started a change.
California, obviously very democratic. I was just surprised at the amount of people that voted for Trump because so I worked in Tracy, and Tracy kind of gets, you get Lodi, Manteca, Modesto, you get everybody around. And generally we don't talk about politics at work, but as things go, people start chiming on their opinions. And I was actually very surprised at the demographic and the amount of people that actually wanted Trump, that don't want to have nothing to do with Newsom or governor, don't have nothing to do with Biden. I thought it was interesting because, again, I thought a lot of them were just Democrat just because we're in California. So it was nice to know, but it was also devastating when Newsom ended up winning the recall. So there's still too many people in LA, San Francisco voting for him to really let the Valley make a choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know that a lot of Stockton's immigrants, I think, you get a lot of people coming in to work the fields in the area, a lot of Mexicans, a lot of people from like Southeast Asia, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, that ended up there over time. And with that comes a lot of poverty, which leads to gang activity. I mean, it seems like a cycle in Stockton that's not really going to end because now you've got all the people fleeing the Bay Area and they're coming and driving up the housing costs and the crime. And I just don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really does.
Yeah. In your opinion, if you had a magic wand and you could make Stockton better again, what would you do?
Oh man, I don't even know where to begin. Figure out how to get the crime to go down for sure. Figure out this homeless problem. There's tents everywhere. I know it's not as bad as other places, but there's still tents just everywhere on the sidewalks, and just in general, there's it's pretty dirty. I think that's just California in general, but going to other states, you see the sidewalks, the roads are all clean. Here you drive down, you see trash everywhere. I think it's just getting everything cleaned up.
Yeah, it does suck. California used to be one of the best states, if not the best state forever in the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s. And then sometime around in the like 80s, it's like somebody flipped a switch and like California people like became dumber and more dangerous, and the politics, changed. I know that Ronald Reagan was governor at that time, and a lot of people complain that he shut down a lot of mental hospitals in California, and as a result, a lot of the crazy, mentally unstable people, were forced out onto the streets or into places that couldn't support as many people, and so that was kind of the beginning of the crisis in California when it came to some homeless problems and mental illness and drug abuse. There's an argument that could be made about that. I don't know. The state hospitals are still sitting there rotting. Maybe they can like open the gates up and readmit people. I don't know.
Yeah, I think try anything at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy up there, man. And I feel like Stockton is like Oakland light. When it comes to, I mean, it's not as bad, but per capita, it kind of almost is tied in terms of crime and drugs. It's not as vastly run down as Oakland, but it could get there. It's just, I don't know, man. Like, it's just a Central Valley city. It's got a lot of potential. It used to be a great place, and I don't think there's anything they can do to turn it around.
Yeah, that's the way it appears to me too. That's why I'm trying to get out when I can.
Do you know a lot of other people that are talking about getting out?
I've known a few, maybe like 5 or so people that end up moving, and it's been different places: Texas, Oklahoma. I think maybe a couple in Idaho. There's been a few people that I know got out, and they say they like it better. That their only regret is not doing it sooner.
That is, I hear that from so many people that leave California. They're like, I just wish I would have done this. Family, jobs, comfort. You get into a rut and you just sit there and you just deal with it. You've got your routine established. So it's kind of hard. And I know it's hard to move. It's not fun. It's not pleasant, especially if you have kids that are in schools and stuff. But like, people just got to cut the tie and get out of there, man. And just, rip the Band-Aid off fast and deal with it. And then everyone I've talked to is like, I just wish I wouldn't have waited. I waited. 10 years ago, I was going to move, and I waited and waited and waited. And thank God I finally did it,
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people are, just actually getting around to doing it.
Yeah. What's everybody do for fun in Stockton? Like, what's the, there's not a lot of outdoor recreational activities, right?
Yeah. Oh man. I don't necessarily know what everyone does now, but ooh.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's oohing and ahhing over Stockton. I don't think.
Right. You go to the waterfront and they go to here. They're like, oh wow, there's some water here. There's this little stadium. But it's not bad though. I'm not gonna shit on it. Like I would say, like that is the most that's a nice place though in Stockton. I do like the waterfront and the stadium.
Mm-hmm. The Stockton Ports. I used to go down there sometimes. Well, yeah, that's cool, man. So you left Stockton for the last time. You think you moved to Vegas, you're never going back. You're over it for good.
Man, yeah, I got my feet planted here, man. I got my toes and everything locked in the ground. I'm locked in place. I'm going in the direction that I want to go. So yeah, I don't think with the way everything's going in California right now, I don't think I'll be going back at all.
Man, I'm telling you what, so many people are leaving. And the one thing that everyone tells me, and I've said this probably 10 times in a video, is people that leave always wish they would have left sooner. Like they look back and they're like, it was kind of painful leaving. It was kind of a pain in the ass, but like, I'm so glad I did it. And I wish I wouldn't have stalled. I wish I wouldn't have waited.
No, definitely. Because, we hold on to this hope and this dream that it'll get better. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, well, this is the place I call home. Like, I'll never leave home. You know what I mean? You have like these ties to the area that you call home, but you really don't see what you're missing until you leave. So when you leave, and it's amazing to see a totally new environment, a new area, just hand you things in life that, that you're deserving of course, but things that your own home wouldn't give you, things that were unobtainable at home. You know what I'm saying? It's just mind blowing to see that. So that's like, I agree. Like, yeah, if I would have knew that the grass is greener on the other side, I would have been jump ship. I would have traded teams, handed in my jersey. Here you go. I'm going here.
My friend's a firefighter, and constantly they're going around putting out little homeless fires that get out of control. Whether it's behind stores, off the freeway. I used to see them a lot during the summer when everything was dry. Just fires everywhere, little fires that sometimes they turn out big. And I think it was a couple of years ago, there's a homeless fire, or a fire that got out of control and actually burned down a business, which is sad for the business owner. Yeah. That's all California needs is more fires starting. I mean, it's already bad enough.
Yeah. So you're saying that they camp out in the along the fields and the irrigation ditches, out on the outskirts of Stockton?
So there's like some canals that run through, like right off 99. There's some, and it's more towards in Stockton. But if you go, you'll look, and there's just tons of tents lined all the way down. Yeah, It actually, like into the country and stuff, there's not much. I don't think the farmers are going to let them do that. You know, they're all gun-toting farmers out there.
Yeah, but like, is it possible that they're peeing and pooping in waterways that are either taking water into Stockton or used to irrigate crops, like on those canals? Is that where do those
I'm
canals
sure
go?
I'm sure it's possible. During the summer, most of the time when I go by, those canals are kind of like dry, so they might release water every so often. Yeah, I don't know.
Man, I should go and follow up on that and see if that would be disgusting if they're peeing and pooping in water that's going into, well, either way, if it's going into Stockton for water that they're using, that's disgusting. And if it's being used to irrigate crops, I don't know. Like, and it's like the agriculture. And what's sad is Stockton is at the top of the Central Valley. This is like the agriculture breadbasket of the country, right? Like, and sort of like the world. I mean, that whole part of the state is like where like a majority of the produce and crops and stuff is grown in this country is grown, and like top 5 worldwide. I don't know what the number is exactly, but it's like just, it's just so massive. And the fact that it's getting jacked up by fires and poop and homeless tent debris and a-holes and bullets and graffiti. And I know I've said it before, like California, you're not allowed to use, drinking straws, but you can let all the graffiti and bum poop wash out into the ocean, but you're not allowed to have plastic straws because the dolphins will choke on those. But bum pee, it's okay. Like they can tolerate that.
Yeah.
I would say there's a lot of corruption too. Like, say for a person like me, you have to be careful riding around downtown Stockton because you have a police station there. They do a lot of profiling. That's like Stockton is like the city to where they'll spot you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might not be doing anything in particular, just driving, but hey, they'll follow you around. They'll wait for you to make a mistake so that they can have a reason to pull you over. And then they'll try and make up some things like, hey, it smells like weed in the car, or, is your buddy on probation or something like that? Like, they'll do what they can in order to search you. Like, they'll make a simple traffic stop into something that it doesn't need to be. Like, I've seen 4 or 5 police cars pull over one car with 1 or 2 people in it. Like, it's just a trip, man. So I try and stay off those roads and those highways when I'm out there. I try and go to the destinations I need to. And then when I leave, I leave. Try not to hang out longer than usual. Hey, what happened here? Like, nah, it's not the place to do any of that. You kind of just want to go to where you're going and make sure you make it back. And once you have a schedule, routine like that, that's pretty much what the city was. But I tended not to hang out in Stockton. I would go to Sacramento or to the Bay Area just to get out.
Yeah, I heard that they were like cops weren't pulling people over as much anymore because of the problem that you're talking about with profiling and issues that come from pulling black folks over and making a big deal about it. And it causes a lot of problems. We've seen what's happened with, it turns into a mess, and then you have riots, and it's just out of control. So like,
yeah, you're right about that. And something else just came to mind as well. I've heard a story about something that happened there. I guess it was something that happened with the family. Excuse me if I get the story wrong, but something happened with the family, and I believe the police came out to like a domestic disturbance call that they had at like a house. It was over on Kentfield, which is in North Stockton. So I guess they replied to the call or something like that, and I guess the father that was in the dispute, that was in the confrontation, I guess he turned his anger out toward the police officers or something like that. And I guess he ended up killing one of them or something. So they had like the whole Stockton PD, the whole police force just at this one residence, like had everything taped up. Everything was at a standstill. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that is actually normal just to happen out there. So just a lot of wild stories and shit that you got to watch out for.
Like, a lot of people don't even know of Stockton, like nationwide. I mean, somebody may be like, oh, I've maybe heard of it, but it's not as notoriously known as Compton, Watts, which isn't even bad anymore. Oakland,
Right.
everyone knows Oakland. I mean, everybody thinks LA is dangerous. LA is really not. Now, parts of LA on the south side are still bad. Long Beach is bad. But Stockton, it's like, it's not known as being one of those places everybody knows about.
Right. Yeah, Stockton. People haven't really heard too much about Stockton because the nearest major city here is Sacramento. So, you know, Sacramento gets all the shine. Stockton kind of gets overshadowed.
Mm-hmm. But like, how does a little small port town in Central Valley get to become one of the most dangerous places in the country?
Because there's a little bit of people from everywhere in Stockton. So you got to think about that as well. Like it's not as transient as a place like Vegas, but Stockton's still pretty transient. I mean, for the little port city that it is, it gets people from everywhere. So Stockton is a city that it does have its own influence, but it's also influenced by a lot of outside sources. So you've had like people from the Bay Area, people from LA, everyone have kind of like migrated out to Stockton. And I would say it's a mixture of the different cultures and just the different people that kind of have it as crazy as it is. Because a lot of people that come to Stockton, we had a problem some years ago where people would come to Stockton, do crimes, and then leave and go home. So, you know, the police or whoever, they wouldn't know who to look for. There'd be no targets, you know what I'm saying? Because these aren't Stocktonian residents. You know what I mean? These are people from Oakland, people from LA, Long Beach, Sacramento, Chico, wherever, you know what I'm saying? And they come to Stockton and, you know, they terrorize it and they feel like they can, or they feel like they could do whatever to the city since no one knows them. And then they leave scot-free.
Yeah, so like driving around downtown, you know, it's not very exciting. It's not nearly as run down as Oakland or some other places. I mean, it's just kind of a basic downtown. Tell me some good stuff about Stockton. Like, I don't want to just talk about how shitty Stockton is. Like, what's good about this place?
Let's see. You could find deals on you can find deals on products like there's like, they have like a lot of stores and a lot of places that you know, sell different products or whatnot. So you could find deals. Like I do a lot of shopping in Stockton, especially for like clothing, shoes, things like that. You can find a lot of deals throughout the city. Like there's a lot of mom and pop stores, a lot of mom and pop shops. There's a lot of people that, you know, get their hustle on or whatever on the side. And you can just find some deals if you know where to go and you know where to shop. And yeah, it's just the thing about keeping your stuff once you get it. But yeah, you can find a lot of nice things in Stockton. Let me see. What are some good things that I can speak about it? Oh yeah, restaurants. There's some good restaurants in Stockton. Like all you got to do is just go eat out, just go choose some places. You'll be able to find some restaurants that aren't too high priced, that, you know, are in a good price range where you can eat, good ambience. So yeah, I won't shit on the restaurants. Like they do have some nice upper tier type restaurants that you can go to, hang out and get you a nice meal.
What's the most popular fast food chain in Stockton?
Most popular fast food chain. Oh, people are gonna hate me for this. I want to say Sonic because there's only one.
Okay. Hey everyone. So it's pretty clear by now that elected leaders aren't going to help you. If you don't like what you saw in this video, demanding change won't work. You're going to have to do it on your own. If you want to be safe and want your community to be a place where people want to live, you're going to have to clean the place up yourselves. You're going to have to work with your friends and neighbors to lower crime. Politicians clearly don't care as much anymore. It's up to us.
This is Sage, Nick's manager. This has been a Corner House Entertainment production.
And are you looking to move and need advice? I do consulting. That's right. I'll sit down and talk about where the next perfect place for you and your family should be. I do it all the time. Together, let's find you a new home that's safe and checks all your boxes. You can get my email in the description to find out how I can help you find your perfect relocation.